Dave Scott at Media, back with Lill from Brant, Haldeman, Norfolk, CMHA. Today, if you don't mind, Lill, I would like to take a couple minutes. You guys have this excellent article on your website, Why Mental Health Belongs on Every Back to School List. Man, this is so true in these times, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it does belong on the list.
There's just so many things when you start thinking about it. One of the there was a line in here just talking about quiet time, just sort of
Mhm.
letting that person have their moments. And you and I were talking off air, and I remember when my daughter started university, and you're going from a small environment to this great big environment, and there's lots of stuff going on, and I was really concerned. Like you, you guys point out in the article, it's like, oh, you get the books, the computers, and all that stuff, but maybe set your child down
Yeah.
really and have that mental health talk, because there's going to be stressors all over the place, isn't there?
Absolutely, Dave. And it's a whole different experience for a young person starting school. Most of them are going to bigger cities than where they used to live before. Your support system is miles away. It's a new environment. It's just a whole new journey. You don't know anybody. Everything is very foreign, and you get lost. And even taking the buses, I was just also referring to my experiences when I started university. This can be very overwhelming, and it's not something that we always take account of, because well, we need to study and we need to focus on our academics and get good marks, and the mental health component that we are all going through is often missed. So that article says that it's really important that that takes priority, right? Because if you're not mentally well and build that resilience to go through a very challenging first year of school away from your supports and everything else that is familiar to you, it's going to have an impact on you.
And I mean, the other parts of it are loneliness. I mean, making new
Yep.
friends can be hard. And that goes for, public school to high school, those
Yes.
transition as well, or your first day of school at kindergarten.
Yep.
Like there's all
Yep.
this emotion, right, that comes
Yes.
out. And, maybe prepare your child, have that, you guys talk about that, have that discussion beforehand.
Yep.
Name the unknowns, you guys call it. And I like that. That's a great idea.
Exactly. Now, thankfully, a lot of the universities do have wellness programs where you can, go and speak to a counselor about what you're going through, and that's wonderful. That this is not something that was always in place, but now they do realize that, your mental health is going to be challenged with such a new environment. So that's very positive. But again, reaching out when that's another thing, right? Do you reach out? Do you feel comfortable reaching out? Are you having thoughts of suicide with no one to talk to, right? Lots of stuff, Dave. And mental health needs to be key, right? And like I said, parents don't always think about that. Well, are you liking your courses? Are you doing well in your courses? But the conversation should be first and foremost, how are you doing? Okay. How are your stress levels? How are you feeling? Are you feeling
Course load.
overwhelmed? Everything, all of that. That conversation is so important, Dave. Yeah.
I always found too, I mean, I just remember I was excited as a parent when October was coming, that first year. And then I knew my daughter was coming home for Thanksgiving and all that.
Mhm.
And I think my advice would be that's a really good time to check in on a lot of different things besides
Yeah.
the schoolwork, right? Because
Exactly.
they're making new friends, they're
Yeah.
trying to find a routine, all
Yeah.
those little things where you can sort of make suggestions along the way. And it's hard. I know it's hard because that freedom they've craved, right, is now right in
Yeah.
front of them.
Yeah.
But there has to be expectations with limitations.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And that's a really good point. They have this freedom now, but maybe not really knowing what to do with that freedom sometimes, and that can be, it can have be impactful in a negative way sometimes. But absolutely, Dave, mental health needs to be your first line of discussion with your kids. And I do remember that going back for Thanksgiving, you're really happy to be home. You're starting to mesh into this new environment. And that's a really good time to ask, how are you doing? Yeah.
I think another thing, I know my son was out west for a year, and what we
Mhm.
did is we set it up so every Sunday at noon we talk,
Good.
right?
Good.
Those little things that you can do to sort of,
Yep.
and it was basically a check-in for everybody
Yep.
to make
Yep.
sure everything's okay and to see how life's going and
Yep.
sort of get a feel for what they're going through, right? Because
Yep.
like you said, it's anything like that is a huge change, and you're that far from home. And sometimes you just need to hear that voice of reason, right?
Yeah. Check in with your kids and ask them if everything is okay. It's really important. Don't think that you're probably bothering them because, they're adults now but, it's really important to have that check in call. And once a week, I don't think is excessive. I think once a week is a good amount of time to just have that call with your kids in university or even high school, and just make sure that they're doing okay, because times are very different right
I was
now,
just going to say,
in
yeah.
school, right? There's social media that really can just fuel rumors and bullying and all that. It's a different time, so it's really important that you check in with your kids.
And the other part was the quiet spaces. And one of the things that I
Yep.
always preached was exercise,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to go do something that's, takes your mind off the books for a while, or,
Yeah.
allows you to have some fun
Yep.
doing something physical, because I think that's the other component that we kind of, we totally forget about, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, don't sit in that room
No.
24/7, go
Exactly.
out, you know?
Exactly. And universities have awesome gyms and
Yeah.
sports equipment and all that. And take advantage of that if you have a free period or over lunch or after school. Get your mind off of things. And not only that, we also know that, exercise is very good for the mind. It boosts your feel good chemicals and, really, calms you and puts you in a better place.
The article is called "Why Mental Health Belongs on Every Back to School List." Lil,
Yep.
thanks for taking the time today and talking about this. I really
My
appreciate it.
pleasure.